guys just started playing something else. How rude. Now I'll never watch his Unreal stream.
Man, he's playing Airland Battle to add insult to injury. So he's playing around with French units rather than watch your stream. What a dick.
Again, he'd probably be watching the stream if it had a nude mod.
No, jeez.
A nude tank mod, just strip off the chassis.
I experienced that in Red Orchestra 2, actually. I got into a tank, and due to the release version of the game being horribly bugged, the tank became transparent from inside. So it was just me sitting in the air driving around. It was really useful, actually, because I mean the problem with being in a tank in that game is suppose that you can't see anything, but I could see everywhere by just turning my head.
Swarming all over the place.
Keep your
It was
distance
really
if
handy.
you can. They're simple but persistent, and they're here for the sword, just like us.
But where
By the way, you might think that the Assassin twins might be, you know, very integral to our immediate plot.
Start now.
Well, you'll see how that works out. And let's up. Up. There we go. And hey, man, I love a built engine circular room. And that might have been Jamolan.
Let's see if he's back. Yup.
So my computer just exploded and I'm only just now reset, so let me actually open up the stream again. Wait, no, that's the wrong person.
We left
So
your
many
little
people
care package,
streaming.
darling. Grab it.
Here we go.
Let's start rigging it up.
Are we infiltrating the ship or
Any moment
demolishing
now.
it?
Oh man, look at that detonator.
Oh god, loud.
I don't see any demons
Why?
lusting for
Sound
fingerprints.
settings,
Orders are
why are you
orders,
so
Mr.
loud?
Wang.
Fair enough. Now let's hold off blowing anything up until we get that sword.
Ah, there's the brilliant tactical thinking you're known for. I knew it would come out eventually.
Fuck off.
It was
And
your
I wish there was such a thing as CSI only.
it was your idea to blow the shit up. What the fuck? You can't go, oh wow, guess you got a bright idea when your idea was fucking stupid. Oh damn it. I'm glad that
Video game writing.
I'm glad that those guys do not have much of a role. Spoilers. In fact, they're going to pretty much disappear after the next boss and never be acknowledged.
I was about to say, I mean, just their characters' designs alone is a death flag.
Actually, no, they're not going to die, they're just going to drop out of the plot entirely.
Which is essentially the same thing as dying, really.
That's actually not quite what I would have expected, but sure, that works too.
Yeah, spoilers, but
Well, not really, I guess.
like
You're only saying they're not that important.
honestly, I think this game for a FPS has at least some decent writing in it. Like, it's entertaining at least, sort of, to hear OG and Wang's banter. Like,
It's not as painfully bad as most FPSs tend to be.
yeah.
I suppose. Well, no, don't. Go away, Yava, I don't need you right now.
I mean, Travis Touchdown is a good character idea.
I really love Travis Touchdown as a character, but that also has to do with the very punkish influences that Suda51 has.
Which is ironic because No More Heroes was his best-selling game.
I suppose that's a kind of irony, yes.
Man, I remember reading
Sort
the
of depends on your definition of punk, but still.
remember reading the Gamer's.Text a post by some guy who was like had this whole thesis about how No More Heroes meant nothing because while Travis Touchdown was a huge nerd, he was also really buff and not nerdy at all because he was buff.
I see.
And that somehow invalidated the game having any meaning.
Man, in-depth game analysis.
It's almost like by going to the gym 4 times a week, I can't play video games.
It's almost like Travis Touchdown is supposed to be a nerd who can exact his power fantasies. That the
It's
entire
almost like he's kind of a caricature meant to be completely totally ridiculous.
It's almost like the entirety of No More Heroes is a satire on, you know, gamer culture and the over-competitiveness.
I'd say you're sort of overreading it at that point, but sure, why not?
It makes
So
sense
Travis
though.
Touchdown was just simply supposed to be, you know, parody of otaku culture.
Yeah,
That
for the most
too,
part
but-
he is. He's pretty much meant to be a
Well-
completely unlikable dick, but somehow he manages to be kind of likable.
Well, he's not likable, he's just an fun character to watch.
I guess you kind of, you know, think he's a complete asshole, but he's a very fun to watch asshole.
Yeah,
He's a self-aware asshole.
I guess, yeah, he's... I'm not sure what the name for that would be, actually.
Moe.
No, that's something different. Something
Oh,
completely
yeah.
different.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I suppose if you like it in that way, then good on you.
Aha.
Oh man, look at you.
The Chinese secret.
Look at you doing these pro-dashing secret stuff.
You don't need to be snide.
I'm not being snide, I'm being
That
maybe a little bit mean in my tone, but it's legitimately kind of interesting to see you do this.
Oh hey, I cut off his armor. I cut off his pauldron.
No,
Oh, no.
not my pauldron.
My gigantic metal pauldron that doesn't really do much of anything.
Fuck it, I'm using my demon hat. Where is it?
Once
I
again,
do
just patting down this weapon belt. Where do I keep my demon head? Where's my demon head?
There. I don't have a
I-
demon hat. What the hell?
I'm kind of curious what the point is of having just pauldrons and not an actual armor.
Have you never played World of Warcraft?
Well, let's not talk about why it's being used so much, but it just amuses me, the idea that you're only wearing armor on your shoulders, nothing else.
Well, you know.
Or on one of your shoulders in many cases as well.
Oh man, one side pauldrons always amuse me so very much.
Where is the other big guy? There he is. Yeah,
Oh, fuck you!
Though honestly, I suppose in some ways the one-sided pauldron is kind of like the male chainmail bikini sort of thing. It's completely useless and yet somehow it's generally a very good piece of armor.
it's a way to convey armor without having to draw it.
It's
There.
also, you know, about, you know, showing off, in this case, the perfect male body type, which is, you know, the ridiculous Schwarzenegger sort of stuff.
Wait, did they spell access wrong?
Where?
I don't know. I think with the mission objective, I think they think the word access wasn't as short.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Axes.
Missing anything? I think there's something in here though.
And we could also talk about how the, you know, average fantasy guy body type isn't really, you know, actually a body type a strong man would have, since, you know, the whole triangle shape thing.
Hey now, maybe he, you know, trimmed down a bit.
Well, actually a strong man
Well,
would probably
I
have a
don't-
little bit of fat over those muscles.
I don't think if you're actively dehydrating yourself that you're gonna be in much of a shape to fight.
It's okay. He has an amulet of hydration.
Wang is a pretty skinny guy though.
Yeah, but he's sort of a power fantasy in, you know, a nutshell.
Well,
He also wears, you know, like a ridiculous latex suit, so, you know.
he wears his own Mass Effect space armor.
And
The one crappy one that they keep showing off.
Which is, you know, a leather sort of jumpsuit.
Why couldn't the Phoenix armor become the standard Mass Effect
I
armor?
don't know.
We're just below the top deck. The ship is in
Because
lockdown, but we're hacking into
developers tend to
controls.
have terrible taste in their own games.
Well,
for
the
some
Phoenix,
reason.
the Phoenix armor was
Funny,
kinda
How do
terrible.
I get to you?
You can't
It was
reach
the
us
one
from
that
where
kinda
you
looks
are.
like a urinal.
Break this part of the ship and
Yeah, but
throw
that's
me
why
to
it's
the cargo
great.
hold.
Yes.
Copy that.
Cargo hold is not one word, miss.
Yeah, English does not do compound words.
Which is a damn shame, by the way.
In
You know how
Dutch,
you're supposed to win at Scrabble in English. Come on.
yeah, in Dutch we do compound words all the time.
We can pretty much do it whenever we want to. There's no real rule for it.
The
Hell
only
yeah, Germanic languages.
the only rule is that if you have certain vowels, you can't do it, and you have to use some sort of punctuation,
You mean a hyphen?
a hyphen or an what's the two dots on the top of a letter again?
Umlaut.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
can still sort of add them together in that case, but
Hey,
you do
look,
need to add the umlaut to make sure the pronunciation isn't butchered.
hey,
Which is
look,
kind of weird, given that, you know, most rules about pronunciation don't exist anymore either. But,
it's
you know.
it's an encounter without an overlord. I was worried that I would run out of overlord heads.
Oh no, now I don't have any more ammo, which is also the severed head of my enemies.
No, I no longer have the ammo, which I need to kill that one enemy type fast without a lot of complications. Man, those overlords get really old really fast on hard, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say, they really got a bit generous with them after a while, didn't they?
Yeah, it's just sort of... I preferred when they introduced more basic enemies that just synergize well. Rather than... and then throw in the occasional huge one to support them.
Yeah, in many ways you don't want to, you know, have longer encounters. You don't want it to be a
Why are we playing
gauntlet
C4?
stamina thing. You want it to actually be, you know, challenging instead of, you know, taking longer.
Yeah.
If it's the swords that attract them, do you think Master Zilla...
Well, unless you're developing Painkiller Overdose. But that game also had plenty of other problems.
Man, Painkiller Overdose. Oh, let's talk about a new remake of Painkiller.
There's a remake.
Yeah, there's a remake.
Again?
It's called Hell and Damnation. It actually has co-op.
Is
Oh,
that
right,
the
that
one
one.
where for some reason they added that half angel, half demon ass again?
No, that's a different game.
Because why did they make that game Kai canon? I don't understand. He was universally loaded by everyone.
But yeah, the Hell and Damnation is kind of a good game, but
Oh.
only the parts that were just, you know, more or less copy pasted from the original.
Hmm.
The actual new levels are complete and total ass.
Oh wow. That's a surprise.
Not really, honestly.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me, the developers of this game have said that if this game does well enough, they will try going after the blood license.
Okay.
So if you think this game looks pretty neat, that might be something to look forward to. If you like blood.
I guess I would play that.
I honestly did
We
not
might
play
get-
many,
get a- You
many
might
old
get a
FPSs.
blood game that's completely in 3D that isn't shit. Like Blood 2.
Yeah, Blood 2 was pretty shit.
No, there's multiple playable characters and everything.
Yeah, but they were all terrible and not very likable.
I'm also just now noticing that the idea of stabbing somebody with an axe is kind of hilarious to me. Also,
Just-
this is called an ice axe. Just that
Yeah. Oh no, that shield.
it kind of looks like a pick,
Where is Raw? There we go.
like an ice pick or something.
Yeah, well, that's because it's a climbing implement.
Oh, that kind of axe.
Oh, this guy is berserk, so I can't roar him.
I could say
Roar.
something about me being not very observant, but then I realized the damn thing is just swooshing in and out of view.
Yeah, I was about to
constantly.
say, it's a yellow bit of metal with a black handle 90% of the
It
time.
kind of looks like one of those extendo hands now in this angle.
It kind of looks like one of those ridiculous toy hammers.
Man, that should have been a weapon.
The Pico Pico mallet.
It would be
Yep.
great if it also, had that little squeaky sound when you hit someone.
Then you can yell, damn it, what the hell is that attack called in Tales of Symphonia? The one with the Pico
Yeah.
Pico mallet.
I know exactly which one you're talking about, and the worst thing is that I can hear the goddamn kid screaming it in my head now, thanks by the
Ah.
way. But I can't remember the words.
Well, that was really great once you got through advanced text, because you could do some more ridiculous combos.
I don't know. Which one was it again? The
Tales
only
of
thing I can remember is
Symphonia.
I don't know. The only thing that I can remember is something along the lines of Pow Hammer or something.
Pow hammer! No, that's not it.
Oh. Okay.
No, that sounds like something else Super Mario Brothers.
I think that was in
No,
Tales
I'm
of
pretty
Fun.
sure that was in Symphony as well. At least in the GBA version.
Could be.
Man.
I think it might be the first tag of that, but that's an indirect one. One is the one where it's a melee tag and it's also does lightning strikes.
Well, then again, if I remember correctly, the GBA version had plenty of problems. Like, I don't know, I think
Oh.
for some reason, instead of naming a character Ragnarok, it apparently was changed to Kangaroo.
Yeah, the Kangaroo War.
It was a bit like the Emma War, only fought with boxing gloves.
Oh. Oh, there you guys are.
Found you.
Man, that just reminds me how amazing Wesker was in that game.
It's no use hiding.
That fight was so much fun. And then somebody would get kicked and it looked legit painful. Like,
I like
I'm
that
pretty
you.
amazed they managed to do that.
I like the secret with the rocket launcher, where you kind of
Wait.
wrestles the rockets and then you shoot the rockets.
Yeah.
He holds it back. The grenade as it goes at his face.
Well, the nice little detail is he doesn't actually touch the, detonation part, so...
The thing is that it still stopped though, so it would still go off.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know.
There
I mean,
was
there's
a,
enough force to go on to actually, trigger it, but whatever.
there was an
I
air
mean,
con-
this is Resident Evil. There's a guy who can phase around.
there was an air conditioner on this crate, container.
Yeah,
And now it's shooting out flames. That
might be
seems-
perishables in there.
That might be because I shot an explosive bolt at it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it would stop running at that point.
Where do I go? Up?
Also, it would probably fall
I'll
off. But,
go up.
I still need to do a Resident Evil 5 run someday with the Wesker mod installed.
Wait,
I don't
there's a
know,
Wesker
I've
mod?
actually,
Yeah,
I've
and it's
actually been,
absolutely amazing.
Oh boy.
I've actually been thinking of doing something like that myself, but I was thinking, if there was ever going to be a Resident Evil 5 stream, maybe it might be best to wait and see whether or not Capcom is actually, going to do something about that whole Games for Windows Live shit. Completely
yeah.
break the multiplayer in the process.
Kinda curious. Yeah, that's probably not gonna work anytime soon, is it?
Oh.
Because yeah, if that's gonna happen, then we do need to, have a co-op stream going.
Well,
No.
that barrel went somewhere.
It actually fell through the grating, and you can see it on the other side.
When I was practicing
Well, that sure was some collision detection right there.
when I was practicing the first dock level, one of the dismembered hands landed on the elevator.
I am kind of curious, why it went through and didn't just jitter around like crazy.
You really know how to
I'm
bottom
legit
don't
curious how they programmed this.
When so the foot landed on the elevator, and while it was going up, the foot just started physicsing on its feet. It was like
Flippity flobber, the flippity flob.
it was like the foot was just sort of wriggling around.
Man, twitching ragdolls are the best ragdolls.
Yep, Havoc Ragdoll's going crazy. It's a source of endless amusement.
I also had once where I hit a body part with a bolt, and the bolt had infinite rotation.
I've taken the habit of calling those things party buddies. For the obvious reasons.
Like they were just placing explosives in random locations.
I'm sure Lo Wang knows what he's doing.
I'm sure.
Like,
Where did he even get these explosives anyway?
They were waiting for him when he arrived at the boat.
the twins
Ah,
gave
right.
them to us.
Yeah, I must have missed that one.
Time for Wang
Yeah.
to make a bang.
I do sort of like the idea of it being like in Call of Duty, just...
Oh man.
Oh, right, by the way, you're carrying all the dynamite. Good luck.
Time to Wang bang. Terrible Joe.
Please don't bang your Wang. Because it might get bent out of shape.
Don't bang it on the door.
Were you a bad enough dude to hit your own
Right.
dick with a hammer?
Let's check. Skills. Ah. Ah.
And to sort of hook into something that went on in the chat a little while back. Yeah, I do think it's interesting they, took this very specific pickaxe, or I guess ice axe as a weapon. And I think a lot more games really should have ice picks as weapons because that's just amazing.
This is not a nice pick though.
It's just such a brutal little thing. You'd
Oh
think more
wait,
games would
yeah,
use it.
it's an ice axe.
Yeah, it's an ice axe, but an ice pick is sort of similar in many ways.
Isn't an ice pick that one thing to
Have you been lying to us? Leave it, sister.
Well, it's like an ice axe is also what finally managed to kill Rasputin, so that should really say enough. I
well,
mean, that guy survived getting shot several times, and
that
you know,
might also have
electronic,
something
that
to
sort of
do
shit.
with him dying and eventually.
well, he would have died eventually because of the ridiculous amount of shit.
Oh
he
hey,
went through
look,
at the
it's
time.
these enemies that we saw once and then didn't appear for the rest of the level.
Oh, those samurai wielding.
Yeah, they are.
blades, I guess.
They can actually be pretty nasty on hard difficulties, but here you just sort of chop their arms off.
I do like the sort of semi-coherent iconography going on.
Also, they can block.
They're also using two equal-sized katanas.
Well, they're demons.
If you're strong enough, why not?
If it isn't this congeniality...
Well, there's a reason why, if you're actually using two katanas, which is kind of ridiculous, you're using one short one and one long one, but let's not get into that.
Also, that was a terrible fencing style made only for dueling, and it even wasn't that great.
Well, there's a reason they're daddy or not, let's say.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
As far as I
Insofar at
understand, the whole concept of the Wakizashi dual wield was to get the enemy off guard and then quickly finish him.
Yep, but
But-
we're actually gonna talk about this, okay.
Well, it's about fencing, but it's about kendo, so yeah. The problem is that...
to be exact.
do you know anything about the Wakizashi dual wield?
Yes,
Yes,
I do.
tell us.
Go. I've done Kenjutsu for
Ah.
starters. So I actually know how to wield a katana, you guys. Street sword by my book.
So was what I said anything correct
Oh god,
or...
that book. I remember you talking about that book.
It's the best book. But yeah, the idea that Miyamoto Musashi and many people before him as well, of course, had with the idea of having a side sword is the same reason that you would have a side sword while dueling in any other fencing style. Is basically, if you're big and strong enough, it might be worth it to tie up the opponent's blade with your offhand, and then you stab the dude.
Yep.
Because
Yeah, it's kind of what
if he
he,
only
uh,
has one blade, if you manage to push it out of the way, you won.
It kind of reminds me of the Swordbreaker dagger, where you sort of can, that's specifically made to hook into
Yep.
a blade and, capture it.
Which was a very viable tactic when we back in Europe where we were still using small swords. Because those things could actually be snapped.
And also it was especially popular in the time that they used those really thin swords. I can't quite come up with the name. But they were at a time really popular because they didn't really use a whole lot of metal to actually make them. And it turns out you can actually break those really easy as well.
Yup.
As long as you manage to actually get a hold of it.
And that is the small sword I'm referring to because...
Yeah, the rapiers, I'm thinking, is
Yeah.
the name for it.
I like the
But
fire.
there's quite a marked difference between a small sword and a rapier, let me tell you that right away. Mainly because a rapier is actually a battle sword and you usually didn't duel with that sort of rapier.
I really couldn't, tell you too much about the actual subtleties on it.
I could.
I know quite a bit about it, but not to that sort of degree.
I've done Renaissance fencing in 4 different disciplines.
Oh wow. I actually know quite a bit about Renaissance warfare, but it's mostly because I have a lot of, castles around here. And I sort of like going to them and go to their armories and check it out. Actually held a ancient claymore once. That was kind of fun. It was actually several hundred years old. I still have no idea why they actually let me handle it and, swing it around. It seems like it would be an extremely bad idea, especially because I was a kid at the time.
Yeah, for shits and giggles.
Well, it was, pretty blunt, so I guess I wouldn't do too much damage, but still. Like, what if I, smash it and break it? It seems like a complete waste.
Kid just snaps a sword in half because it's so...
Well, not so much that. It's, an old rusty sword that's like several hundred years old. That probably isn't as strong as it used to be. And of course, you always have that one douchebag kid who like smashes it against the floor or something.
Yeah, the first thing he does is try and break it. Because he wants to see the adults react.
I like the one fencing style where you just wear a gauntlet on your offhand and then grab the enemy's blade with it.
Yep.
That's a pretty great fencing style.
Well, it's sort of similar to what we've been talking about. Same general idea.
Sort of a refined form of it because you can use your other arm.
It's a advanced form of it, yes.
Because you can actually use your other arm still while holding the blade.
But
Yeah.
the problem is that it's a bit harder for your, gauntlet arm, since gauntlets are a bit heavier than a dagger.
Back when I was doing fencing, well, we basically used the equipment that you would have at the time. You would be wearing some really thick and hard leather gloves. Because that is actually enough to deflect a small sword if it's being thrust at you. That works surprisingly well. So especially since a small sword does not really have much of a cutting edge and is a rather light weapon. If you could actually manage to just catch the blade between your fingers, the glove would be thick enough that you wouldn't get your meaty parts between the fingers cut up. So you could actually walk in and basically just snap your fingers around the opponent's blade and stab him in the stomach. A perfectly viable tactic, as long as there was only one of them, of course.
Control pane 3. And now we have...
It is sort of amazing what hardened leather can protect you from, really.
Now
Like
we
you
have
don't really realize that, especially with how little you actually see it being represented in fantasy and the like.
That's because metal armor is cooler.
Yeah, I know. Another interesting thing about, hard leather is that it's also not that hard to make, assuming you've got the leather anyway.
So you have mastered the way of the sumo wrestler now.
Yep. We are now tough as hell.
Hell yeah.
Is there going to be one of those overlords again? I'm getting tired of those
Oh,
guys.
not again.
Just fought 2 of them. Oh hey, there's a necromancer here. I'll take it.
Anything but no more overlords, please.
Yeah, because it's not very interesting to just have 2 overlords.
Yeah.
Especially when they're not even supported by anything.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even play off each other well. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been interesting if they had some sort of combo attack, maybe, but they don't.
Well, they could have just modified the AI to, you know, sort of abuse the situation of now having to deal with 2 big guys.
Just take turns grabbing you and pulling you back and forth.
Yeah, sure, why not? You could totally build something around that. But
Right, let's switch it up.
I suppose it would be ridiculously hard to actually properly, you know, balance. It is, as they say, it's easy enough to make an AI that is good at everything. Really hard to make one that's only mildly competent.
Oh hi, there's 2 of them.
The science fighting game AI.
So many demons.
Yeah, let's not get
so
started
many.
about that. That's a
Nice.
fun little subject.
Damn it. Missed that one.
But then again, you know, fighting games in general, just designing one is a fucking science. Like, there is so much nuance to that, that's not even funny.
A game like...
Let me tell about hitboxes and frame data.
Let me tell
Let
you
me tell
about...
space.
Did you know that one of the best players of the Dante character in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 actually said that controlling Dante in Marvel vs. Capcom is easier than it is in Devil May Cry original, because there's a whole lot more technical mastery required to play Devil May Cry at a great level than in, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom.
I am kind of curious how you would define a great level at a single player game.
Technical mastery, inputs,
I guess,
reading the
but-
I
battle.
take it you've never seen those DMC competition videos, right?
Wait, there are DMC competitions?
Yes,
Yeah,
true
sound
style.
competitions. You get to an SSS combo and then you're not allowed to drop it.
Wow, that sounds like it's amazing.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
I can imagine that being really tricky to pull off.
sometimes they also organize gimmicks for it, like only use the gunslinger style.
Yeah. One of my favorites is the one where they beat the first boss of DMC4 without actually touching the ground.
That's great.
That one is pretty neat. They just use repeated aerial maneuvers and tricks to simply stay in the air.
Yep.
Which really says a lot about how well designed the game is.
Yep.
And then,
But
yeah,
hey, you can stay in the air permanently in the new DMC as well. Just use that endless...
Fucking
Rip-off
new
bug and just-
DMC, just
fly up into the sky.
As far as that
fucking
one,
game.
we won't actually see them in any of those contests because, you know, in the new DMC game, the fighting system is pretty shallow.
It is ridiculously
Actually-
broken. It's also very easy to actually get a perfect score from what I've heard. Or
actually
a
speedrunners
close
love the new DMC because it's so easy to break.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a very good sign, is it?
It is if you're a speedrunner.
I mean, it's nice if you're a speedrunner, you're like, yes, this game is horribly broken.
Like you have some great launch day videos of speedrunners just going into the sky and seeing the entire level from there.
Yeah, I love the guy that figured out that in those demon world levels, due to have the fact that they never actually realized how to make a trigger that was basically a plane rather than a box. You can simply skip all the cutscenes by flying around them.
How can you even have that's mathematically far easier than a box. What the?
No.
Well, I guess they're just using a throwaway engine, but still, that seems kind of embarrassing.
Ninja
same guy
Theory
also-
are good at graphical access but not very good at game design.
Ladies, it's time to blow shit
They're
up.
Well-
arguably not very good at anything, honestly.
Enslaved looked nice,
I want
but
to say
that's
they
all
were
I can
pretty
say.
good at a
Too
time,
loyal
though.
for my taste.
Like back when they still made Ninja Gaiden games, they did
Sorry,
a pretty good job at those.
Effective,
The hell kind of phone is
unpredictable.
that?
It's a satellite phone.
Oh wow. Sounds fucking ancient. Love it.
Well, there goes those characters. They fell through the floor.
After being exploded to death.
Yep.
I mean, they're pretty clearly dead.
Supposedly, anyway.
To be fair, they were going to betray us. As
I
we
do
over.
like that
Well,
they have that oh no death animation where they
I don't
put
think
their
that. I mean,
heads to their face and go, oh.
can they technically betray us if they're actually loyal to their master the whole time and not actually our friends?
Well, their master wants us dead because, you know, we're kind of fucking around with his sword.
Yeah, but they won't really be betraying us. I mean,
They've never really been loyal to us is
Yeah.
the point.
backstabbing us maybe?
Well, that again implies a level of trust.
Well, they did send us out to place bombs, and they pretended. That
Why
And
would they
then
give
they
us the
were killed by-
detonator?
Yeah, that's another thing. If they wanted us to put down the bombs, then why were they horribly exploded in the location where we put down the bombs like they asked us to?
Because they are girls and therefore not very smart. I don't know.
No, all of them wasn't smart.
Well, it's more one of those oversights by the writer, I suppose.
Well, it's a
Or maybe,
it's a
maybe oversight is the wrong word for it. They just didn't care.
the first-person shooter game. Let's not.
Yeah, let's not do a deep analysis of this, shall we?
I mean, I kind of enjoy this game's writing for what it is, and that's some fun banter in between
No,
objectives.
games are art and must be treated as such.
Yeah, let's go back to that one guy who was talking about King of Fighters not being a emotional experience.
Oh wow.
I'm legit upset about that comment still.
And then there was that guy most recently that went out on Twitter and had a tirade about if games are ever supposed to advance as an art form, gamers must stop claiming that they are entitled to force opinion. Which means that he was basically saying, you're supposed to buy games, but you're not allowed to criticize them.
What?
Because then you are criticizing someone's vision,
No, that's
someone's
dumb.
artistic expression.
Which is completely missing the point, but you know.
Was that guy a libertarian?
No, he's probably the most leftist sort of dude you can find.
Yeah, that's kind of the opposite of a libertarian, let's be honest.
It's one of those, you know,
I don't know, let's just assume the guy's an idiot.
Yeah, let's call him an idiot and be done with it.
not perhaps so much an idiot as ignorant of what he's actually saying, but, you know.
That's a definition
So an
of
idiot.
in my book.
By the way, did you get that radio message?
There was a radio message.
The twins aren't dead yet.
Oh, okay.
They were just trapped in an explosion.
They fell through
And
the
they-
floor and then they got safe, and now they no-clipped out of there.
Sure, whatever. I guess their latex armor
Well,
is
it's better
fireproof
than
or
them
something.
just, you know, dying without so unclimactically.
Yeah, but what's the point of that whole scene then?
Well, to show that
Whatever.
to show that hey, we're being proactive, not waiting for them to betray us or
I suppose.
backstab us or whatever.
Still, that kind of seems like a stupid, move on our side.
Well, it's better than knowing that they're going to betray us and then just, you know, waiting for it to happen.
Well, that's what heroes do.
Well,
It
look
does
at
seem
Lo
like
Wang.
that
Is
sort
he a
of thing in
hero?
way. Well, it does sound like the sort of thing you would do in a very Travis touchdown sort of way. Like, he knows he's gonna get betrayed, but he just wants to wait until it actually happens. he
Heroes
can be
are
all
also
dramatic about it.
always late.
It's called being fashionably late fuckface.
I was referencing something else, but sure.
Yeah, was that Naruto? Because that...
No. Kamen Rider. Heroes are always late.
Yeah, I know, but I was sort of trying to... never mind.
Which is
Actually,
your favorite rider?
I don't know
Look
because
down,
I'm only half. I haven't really that familiar with it.
I'm really fond of Kamen Rider Skull because that guy is suave as fuck.
How do we get that? Did I miss a button?
So to come back to that one rant about that one douchebag in his non-emotional King of Fighters game, he later reviewed the new Killer Instinct game, And he fucking loved that game.
What the
God,
hell?
why?
In part of the review, it was like he literally said something along the lines of, "It's so easy to pull off combos just by button mashing."
What?
I
No, it's
love
like-
it. It's finally a fighting game
that's
someone like me can enjoy.
It's a part of a fighting game, goddammit. And then he's, praising the free-to-play system in which it's sort of like
Oh,
your
Oh, there
typical
we go.
MOBA, and that you only get a few characters and you need to buy the rest of them, or randomly get a different character at some point in time.
Was there seriously an enemy just hiding in the doorway and that's why you couldn't progress to the next area?
I think he got stuck,
Huh.
Should stick to the
but I sticky bombed him.
working so far.
Also, Alistair, while I agree that this looks like a pig, it's actually an ice axe, I've been informed.
It's called an ice axe in the description, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
they're synonyms, I think, but still,
The thing is that an ice pick is generally used to strike ice loose, for example, for use in drinks,
And
while
an
an,
ice axe is
while
for
an ice
climbing.
axe is a climbing implement, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I sort of figured, shall I say.
Was that the explodey guy? Is that another fucking overlord? No.
Hey you guys, what's going on in here? God damn it, Overlord, get out of here.
I like the idea of just at some point Wayne just sort of encountering a new overlord and just sort of pointing, just go back. I don't have time for your shit.
The one time that we needed the demon killer Dante. Fuck you.
Like, give me more of those crazy blade women. I like those. I haven't fought them a lot yet.
Still not entirely sure what they're supposed to be beyond, having two blades and a typical kabuki sort of thing going for them.
Asura, maybe?
I guess, but I mean more in like a design thing, like I have no idea
Asuras would
gender
have
is
4
or-
arms though.
what they're actually supposed to look like beyond vaguely sort of naked.
Also, Asuras would be Hindu.
Well, I'm sure
Asura
they...
part of Japanese mythology as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that-
that's
I
due
guess
to
you could
henotheism.
sort of- They sort of got into their true Buddhism, I think.
It's Asian culture that's good enough, isn't it?
And again, they remind me a lot of like kabuki in the hairstyle and mask sort of way.
I like it when you just cut their arms off, and
Also, their
I don't
sword
know what they
dances,
do
which,
then. like I tried to let one live without its arms, but it died to an explosion.
I tried to let him live, but then he blew up.
Yeah, you're going very Mengele on us over here. Just, experiment with
Well,
demons by chopping limbs
I'm
off.
not sure what
See
they...
what happens.
Oh, what's this? Oh!
Hail
A
to the
double
king.
overlord! No.
And all Overlord pops out of the crate. Right. Let's check this baby out.
Really, hail to the king.
You're not going to like one of these upgrades
Oh, it's a
then?
rocket launcher.
Yes.
Not a. I thought it was a grenade launcher from the looks of it.
It's called a Yari. And we
Why?
can...
It
Because
doesn't look like a spear at all.
a warhead is sort of shaped like a spearhead, okay?
Oh, it's a new.
It's symbolism.
Lovely.
Anyways,
Well,
we
if you could poke somebody with it, I'd be very happy. But
And I
And
guess in this case we can sort of call it a clip because it's actually a clip-on. It doesn't have a magazine at all.
Mhm. So we can buy Nuke Dukem warheads.
And why wouldn't you?
And
yes,
then,
let's openly sell nukes to the people. That sounds like a great idea.
and then we can also, get the Unreal Rocket Launcher alt-fire.
Though I am kind of curious.
I
How
don't
would
know,
you?
is there also a infinite ammo mod called Nuke Nukem Forever?
No.
If
And
only.
this upgrade turns into the rocket launcher from Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, I see it. It actually reminds me a lot of the Unreal Tournament rocket launcher.
So I guess we have quite a bit of spending money.
Yeah, just go nuts, I'd say.
We can either get the fire bombs for the flamethrower, which might make it useful, Nuke Dukem warheads, or the multi-launch.
Kind of
I'll
wonder
let
how
you-
you would build a nuke that's small enough to be used in personal combat.
I think that's just a name.
Like,
So,
you could totally make a nuclear bomb
Yeah.
like that, but
I
Although-
still
to make
can't
it
get over the
effective.
fact that it's clearly a grenade launcher, only that it apparently fires rockets.
so chat, what'll it be?
Those rockets don't really look like rockets either.
Multi-launch, nuke dukums, or the flamethrower upgrades?
In fact, they kind of remind me of like rocket propelled shells
One
you
of
can buy for
one,
certain shotguns.
one for nuke dukums. I guess guys is for the Unreal upgrade.
Yeah, I'd say you know, go for the fat boy.
Anyone
That was
else?
Name in Fallout, right?
And the Fat Boy missile launcher. People got so mad about that. But then people got mad about everything in Fallout 3 before it was
Yeah,
released.
Fallout fanbase is kind of terrible. Like many fan bases, really.
I remember reading this post of some guy who said that he beat his girlfriend for suggesting that Fallout 3 might be a good game. And that was supposed to be, you know,
How dare you, you bitch!
It
I'll
was-
kill you!
it was
I'll kill you!
it was probably shit that didn't happen, but it's still kind of disturbing that you would, you know, say
It's
that.
internet tough guys being internet tough guys. I mean, come on.
We all know he doesn't have a girlfriend.
His girlfriend is that super mutant statue.
It is in-game girlfriend in Oblivion.
Well, I guess
And I wish I had a girlfriend.
I guess the nuke
No, you don't.
dukums win by default.
Always bet on nuke.
Dukum.
Those don't really look like they're very aerodynamic, though.
I like that then they just basically say big nuke instead. And it's like, okay, I guess.
Right. And those are probably going to be fucking
So
overlords.
we were already using nuclear rockets somehow.
Well, it's a nuke TM brand rockets.
That seems like a terrible business concept.
They're rockets that were invented by Nuke Dukem. What the hell is it?
Except you don't really.
Oh,
use
hey,
the
look, an
first one.
overlord.
Hey, where's my rocket launcher? No, 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 no. There we
Rifling
go.
through his pockets again. God.
You do realize there are key bindings for every weapon, right? At
Wow.
least I hope so.
Wow.
See, this is exactly why no FPS should ever have more than 2 weapons in the protagonist's inventory at any given time. Because it makes it too confusing for the player.
Well, it's more that I don't use my hotkeys ever since my mouse with the keypad died.
Yes, well, if you start designing games for the lowest common denominator, then you are gonna be in a bit of trouble.
Call
I
of
don't know,
Duty
I'm-
Ghosts.
I don't know. I'm a bit confused here.
Yeah, but
Are
even
you
those
being
games,
serious, or was that supposed to be a quote from something?
I really hope you weren't being serious.
I am basically poking sarcastic fun at the fact that Duke Nukem Forever used weapon switching instead of weapon inventories because they said that it was too confusing for FPS players to have a full inventory of firearms.
The same FPS players that played Duke 3D.
Yup. We're making this game for the real Duke fans by removing everything.
And real Duke fans apparently wanted rape jokes in their Duke Nukem games.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh man.
That's what I voted for.
Yeah, well,
The sword.
I still can't believe that they did at the hive level. That is just rape culture dot whatever formats maps are made in.
It doesn't help that the level was shit as well.
Well,
So you
all the
trudge
levels were
through that-
shit.
Well, I guess, yes, actually, to be perfectly fair.
I don't know. I'd say the funniest part about that was, you know, when the game was first released, that even in the Something Awful forums, there were plenty of people trying to defend that level.
Of course. I
Well,
I
yeah.
was in the thread, damn it, when people started saying, "Oh, well, he meant it like he was trying to use humor to handle his sorrow. You could tell by the inflection of his voice that he was deeply shaken.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, yeah.
Honestly, I do love it when people start using stuff like, you know, artistic license and like to defend this sort of stuff.
There's a wreck down there. That's what the Manticore lifted from the bottom
Well,
of
here's the
sea.
thing about artistic license, you piece of shit. It means that you are literally bearing your soul for criticism. That is what art is all about.
Yep.
You can't say artistic license, therefore you can't criticize, because that is the opposite of true.
Yeah, I know, but still, that's kind of really amuses me when people go that way.
Well, I don't
Like,
know. I guess.
no, we can't criticize it because, you know, the art, it wouldn't be art if we started criticizing it, which
It's a very
doesn't make any
capital.
sense.
It's a very capitalist approach to art. You can't criticize the artist because then he will just take his art away.
Well, here's the thing, and that's also something that, you know, kind of goes with the same critique logic, is that in many ways, you know, you as an artist, you still sort of, you know, have in some way have to fit in. I mean, if you make
Open sesame.
stuff that nobody cares about, then you know that's very nice for you, but
I thought today's stream would be a bit short, but it looks like we're reaching a pretty decent hour.
Yeah, I was about to say, you've been going for a while.
And it's
Yeah.
only 4 levels now to get to the boss. We'll see a boss after this one. Yeah, this is clear. And did I go in here? And to some people it must be as if I'm having Alzheimer's already.
well,
Did
I've
I go
seen
in
worse
here?
happen, really.
FPS level navigation became a lot more difficult after, well, FPS levels started looking like this.
What the hell?
You're an awfully big fellow, aren't you?
Oh hey, it's a new enemy. Big glowing weak spot. Where's my rocket launcher? There it is.
Use
Oh,
a
that's-
fire weapon.
A gigantic, please, you know, murder me over here sign. That's always nice.
I wish that I have a big orange weak spot when I get older.
I do sort of wonder what kind of
Damn it.
evolutionary niche that's supposed to fill.
Oh, you
Or,
see,
you know, what kind of douchebag creator would build something like that
it's like
if you swing that way?
it's like designing a mech in Mech Warrior. You have to put all the armor in front, but then you have to strip the armor on back.
And then you have to color it differently to tell everybody that it's a weak point, yes.
Yes.
Watch
Well,
out so that boat don't fall on your head.
Can it actually happen? Because that would be kind of neat.
Well, he's smashing all the supports, so I'm curious if it actually can happen.
Well, he did smash the sports on one side already, so, you know.
Well, you know, it's one of those magic boats, it only needs one support.
can I smash all this? Oh! Is there a support? No. Oh, it's being held up by cables.
Oh.
Man, that's a killjoy. Then again, having to actually deal with that in a game design fashion is probably pretty hard.
Well, I thought that would have been great if it, like, turned out that you could drop the damn boat on them and just kill them
Oh
instantly.
yes.
I
Oh,
do like
oh,
what's happening.
damn it!
It's Overlord time, baby.
Fuck it, I have my... am I being grappled?
I do like it every time in a game when you see like pillars. The first thing a player is gonna do is just be like, I wonder if the ceiling is gonna collapse if I break all of these.
Right.
It's kind of like boxes in video games.
Yeah.
There's some sort of like Pavlovian reaction going on over
Yeah.
there.
I always said that if I ever make an FPS, there will be one barrel and one crate stashed away in a secret room somewhere, and those will be the only barrels and crates in the entire world. Because let's be perfectly fair here, how often are you just walking around and you spot barrels and crates just lying around in your office building?
Maybe not my office building, but there is a construction site nearby.
Well, I think when I was working as an intern at some computer magazines or whatever,
Well,
or store or whatever the hell it was, I think I saw maybe a barrel or two. I did try to shoot it though, so I couldn't tell if they, exploded.
Depends on the color, naturally.
I think they were blue.
Oh, well then they probably won't blow up.
Oh shit, those are ice barrels. Shoot those and get like
obviously
a
the
freezing
solution is to do like Donkey Kong and make a barrel punk world. Just nothing but barrels.
Everything is
Barrel
barrels.
Well, at least that one overlord, it's only one this time. And this was just after they introduced a new enemy type. Like-
You're fighting that new enemy? Well, here's all the old ones.
Well, I'm okay with the Necromancer because he's a good sporty unit. And he complements the other things very well. You're not supposed... I mean, you can sort of try to ignore him if you can dodge his skeletons and poison balls. But the Overlord, you gotta deal with it immediately because of his fucking grapple. Because if he grabs you at the wrong time, well, it hurts. Up. And I would be more okay with it if the Overlords at least had less health and you didn't have to whittle them down so much.
That's why you don't work in a game industry, I guess.
Having too many game ideas that are good will keep you from getting a job in the game industry.
Well, there is this fun
Well,
thing
more
about
like he'd
ideas.
probably be working for a company for a while, make some pretty good games, and then they pretty much figure, no, they're not selling good enough, get the fuck out, and then he goes on and make platinum games.
And then it turns out your name is Hideaki Kamiya.
You're gonna have to kill it, Wang. But that'll
Kill-
suck us back to the Shadow Realm. Straight to the Whisperer's owner.
Kill... Oh yeah, the Whisperer.
Just like Gozu.
What if it's Enra?
Enra wouldn't sacrifice his memory. No, it's one of his puppets.
You're going
no
to
other way.
have to
Not
kill
if
it?
you want to get to Zilla.
Yeah, this thing.
Oh, the guy over there. Oh, right, that puppet again.
This is a pretty nice scene. Not sure where the candles came from, but sure.
It's not entirely certain why she's hanging out in this boat that's just suspended in the middle of a hangar.
Yeah, you know, that seems like a good idea, just to have like 50 lit candles in a wooden boat.
Let's go.
I was kind of hoping that instead of Gozu, they said Goku. That would have been great.
Right, what does that upgrade do? Let's check it out.
Let's just put these two swords together and they fuse together.
Yeah,
And now
that's
we
how it
no longer
works.
have a handle.
What, you never played two worlds?
And
That's how swords work. You put them on top of one another and they merge.
where did our hilt go, though?
It
gone.
merged into it.
The Tsuba was no longer necessary.
That the
A
Tsuba is
hiltless
what we
sword
called.
is a terrible, terrible idea. You're gonna lose so many fingers.
Although it specifically states that we have an ancient Tsuba installed now, but apparently it disappeared anyway.
What's a Tsuba again?
It's the bit that stops you from shoving your hands onto the blade.
Oh,
It's
the
it's
hilt
also the
guard.
that, yeah, the hilt guard that sort of keeps you from touching your blade and other blades from touching your fingers.
Right. So Tsuba 5% to drain health on hit.
There you go.
Rup. Now let's kill this Whisper.
Actually, a 5% chance. So what?
Oh,
Once every 20 times you have a chance.
oh,
of-
you're right. We're still using
in-
the ice axe. I was wondering.
Well,
I was wondering why.
How did you stab me with an ice axe? That's like a blunt weapon. Holy shit.
sorry, this that expression just wow.
You are far too precious. When we confronted Hoji and saw his invention,
You're a little bit far off for a high five there, buddy.
Enra banished Hoji. Now, I
Boar's head. Angel wings. What?
Shadow beings are scorched by it. But Hoji's blasphemy? A being without soul? It seems your little conjurer found his purpose after all. And the price I must pay? To forget you forever? It is no price at all. So sleep well, sister, and save your precious tears. Heaven knows you need them soon enough.
Right.